we support realtors with their social media marketing. And I founded my business in 2020. I grew up in a real estate family. I've done like lots of roles within real estate. I'm super creative, and I used to be an 8th grade math teacher. So I kind of blended all my expertise together to create my business, and it's been so fun thanks to social media. And I have a math degree. I love data. I'm such a nerd. So I get to play around with the algorithm all day, and then I share what I find.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you brought up the word algorithm because we hear it all the time. I know that we're trying to figure out, how to show up, how to get views, how to go viral. But for anyone that's watching that has no clue who I am, I've been creating a lot of content here on YouTube, and I talk also about lead generation, but I talk up mostly about prospecting on the phone, expireds for sell by owners. So we're going to touch a little bit on that as well towards the end of this live stream. But you know what? Let's get started. I have the first question for you, and that is, what is the biggest mistake that you see realtors are making on Instagram when it comes to generating leads?
For sure. There's a lot of little things I could say about this one, but when I was trying to figure out my overall answer, I think it is treating Instagram like a billboard. Okay. Instagram has so many facets, so many ways that you can interact with your audience, which is rare. Because YouTube, for example, and I love that we have an Instagram and a YouTube expert on. It's going to be such a fun conversation. But YouTube, for example, like the only way to interact with your audience is through the comments or going live. Versus Instagram, you have DMs, you have comments, you have saves, you have shares, you have story likes, you have like all these different ways to interact with your audience. And so I think my business changed when I started thinking about Instagram as a back and forth versus just put my stuff up and leave it.
So, with that being said, I always get asked the question, and I'm sure you as well. Should I mix business with, my personal life? Do I need to create separate accounts, or what should that look like?
My advice, even though I totally have a personal account, but my personal account is from a previous business, long story. If you can narrow down to one account, it's just going to be less work for you, like point blank. And the reason is because if you're posting 100% business real estate content on your real estate page and there's no personality behind it, there's no face of the brand, there's no silly things, you know what I mean? Nobody's going to know, like, or trust you, right? They're going to see your page as more like Google, and they're going to use what you post and bring it to another realtor and be like, hey, how do we proceed? Versus like seeing you as the next step for them. If you do happen to have a personal account for privacy reasons, I know a lot of my clients don't like to show their kids. What you can do is strategically, when you're posting on your personal page, if you think that would be a good match for your brand, invite your business page as a collaborator, and then those very specific intentional personal posts will also show up on your business page. But if you can just get down to one account, your life is going to be so much easier.
I love it. Yeah. I feel like for me, I have incorporated a lot of different aspects of my life along with real estate. And I think that has helped attract also certain clients that found me because I was at the gym or I was walking my dog. So they see that I'm not just, a cookie cutter realtor, but I have a life and I love to go to the beach and do other things that make me a human, pretty much.
Yes. What's going to happen as you start to share more and open up, you're going to attract people like you. So like I have a ton of clients who are also former educators because I share that I was in education for 6 years, and we can communicate really well. They like that they can relate to me. And a lot of times this will start happening once you get more vulnerable. People will start messaging you and be like, I'm not interviewing anybody else. I want to work with you specifically and you alone. And like, how cool is that to have leads pop up out of nowhere and be ready to work with you?
Absolutely. And that kind of brings me to my next question. How can agents actually get found by buyers and sellers who are searching for a realtor on Instagram?
Yes. Okay. This is a really big question, but I'll make it as concise as I can. So Instagram is really leaning into SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. Okay. So the first step of all of this is you need to know that dreaded word, your niche. Okay. And if you're like, I have no idea what that means, you need to figure out who you want to attract. And I know you can help everyone. I know you're Superwoman or Superman, but you need to think about like who's going to be your biggest win or like the easiest client to work with. And that's who you're posting for. Once you narrow that down, and it doesn't mean you don't serve others, but it means that you specialize in this one corner of the market. And the reason we want to specialize is because if we help buyers and sellers, you're competing against Zillow, Realtor.com. You're trying to beat them in the search results, and it's never going to happen because they have a ton of money. So instead of trying to fight that battle, if you narrow it down, then you have a better chance of coming up higher in search results. And I'm talking about Google and Instagram both. So once you know who you're talking to, figure out your keywords, is what we call them. Okay. These are the words that if somebody didn't know you existed but needed you in their life, they would type into Google to try to find you. So whether that's, you know, they want someone who has been a local for 20 years, or they want someone who specializes in downsizing, or they want someone who only works with investors. Okay. So you need to figure out your keywords. And those are the words that need to appear over and over and over again. Name, username, bio, captions, in your content, in your hooks, in your geotags, right? So as long as you just keep repeating your keywords, that's how you're going to get found. And obviously have a personality.
I love it. Yeah, you just mentioned so many things. I think after this live stream is over, everyone that's watching this will have to rewatch it a couple times and write this down. And I have a question that I have is, let's say we have a newer agent, they just got licensed, they're watching this, they're like, you know what, I have no idea what niche I should pick or how to even set it up.
Mhm.
What tips do you have for them?
So it's empowering, especially if real estate is your first like 1099 entrepreneurial career, because you get to choose. And a lot of times at jobs, we're told what we have to do, right? So this is your business. You get to choose. I hadn't worked with any realtors before I started marketing to realtors, right? So you have to choose, and it can change. Okay. So it's not set in stone. So pick one, go with it, work it for a couple months. If you're like, this doesn't feel authentic, I'm not getting anywhere, I'm having trouble posting about this topic, fix it.
Exactly. Awesome. So, with that being said, if you guys are enjoying this, let us know. Also, if you have any specific questions, make sure that you put them in the chat. That way, we can make sure to go over them. Now, the next question that I have, and this is probably one of the reasons why everyone is tuning in right now, they probably want to know what types of posts actually convert views into leads, and what should agents stop wasting their time on?
Oh, okay. Stop wasting your time on holiday posts. If something needs to budge, it should be Canva graphics, unless you are planning on using it as a real cover photo. Okay. Canva graphics are like 5 years ago on Instagram, right? They're great for other things, great for mailers, great for all this stuff. But just posting a Canva graphic with your like headshot on it isn't going to cut it anymore. And that shift happened when Reels were introduced. Okay. Because a lot of agents, a lot of companies liked to outsource their social media. And you had, you know, a little intern just creating Canva graphics all day. And now you can't do that anymore because your face physically needs to be in front of the camera if you are the face of the brand. So avoid the Canva graphics if something needs to go. Ugly feeds that are full of personality are going to convert way over a pretty aesthetic feed with your face not in it at all. What else should go? If you need to get rid of the just solds, do that. Again, posting like listing tours in as reels is great, and it will probably find you some buyers, But if you're going for listings specifically, which 90% of the people I work with want listings, they're going to hire you based on how they connect with you, how they resonate with you. They're going to have to imagine themselves talking to you every day for the next couple of months, right? So they're going to have to enjoy you as a person. And if you're not posting stuff about you and ways for them to relate to you, they're going to skip and they're going to go find somebody that they connect with. And they're probably, again, going to take the listing tour that you spent $5,000 on, forward it to the agent that they like, and be like, hey, can we go see this house? And I know this because I did the exact same thing when I was looking for a house.
Nice. So when it comes to like type of real content to post, we see a lot, especially now, these property tours. Do you think there's a specific style to be doing those? Or aside from those, I mean, do agents still need to be dancing and pointing? Or like what are some of ideas that you can give us of what to be posting for videos?
Great question. So there are always, let me pull up my little, actually, I can share my screen, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I'll try to talk as I do this so it's not boring. But as you are going through your content strategy, there's always 3 little things that you have to be thinking about. And so the first thing is attracting people to your page. Okay, that's the first step. We do that with SEO, like I had already discussed earlier. And then we also do that with content that's relatable. And people are so tired of the perfect Instagram models. They're tired of the agent sitting in a luxury car and then it's like slow motion and they're getting out of the car, right? People want authentic. They want to be able to hear you talk. They want to hear an opinion. I was listening to a podcast, and this was one of my favorite things that I heard is information is no longer the valuable piece because information is everywhere. They can go to Google, they can go to ChatGPT. They're coming to you for expertise. Okay. They want you to be the best realtor out there for their specific situation. And if you are talking about listings here and buyers there, and you're trying to attract other realtors here, it's confusing the algorithm. So focusing on one thing, and around that thing, you're going to have content that attracts new people, content that nurtures the people who already know you but aren't ready to convert, and content that converts. So there's 3 types of content that you should be posting at any given time. Because at any given time, you could have Susie here, Sarah here, and Josh here, right? So you need to be posting attraction, nurture, and conversion content. And I can go into those if you want, but I know I talk a lot. So
Yeah, actually, everything that you just mentioned kind of leads me to my next question, which is if someone starts to follow you, how do you nurture them without, being salesy or like looking desperate on DMs?
1000%. So with nurturing, your key objective is to stay top of mind without being annoying, right? Because if you annoy someone, what are they going to do?
Block you.
Block you, unfollow you, and then you're out of their radar completely, right? So the very first thing we need to do is not annoy the people that could potentially become our next clients. How do we do that? We provide value or entertainment, okay? Value is going to look different depending on the person. So if you're trying to attract other realtors to build your referral network, value would be providing realtors with Canva hacks, for example, which is one of the things that I post about all the time. So you want to provide value to your person. If you're trying to attract sellers, okay, provide value to sellers specifically. Or you can go the other route if you are a really funny person, if you can rap, if you have this talent that you want to showcase on social media, you can go the entertaining route, or you can do a combo of both.
Awesome. And again, if you guys have any specific questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Now, I kind of want to switch to automations and tools and things like that because we see it all the time. Hey, drop the word this and you'll get my that. So, can you break down just
Mhm.
how agents can automate the lead captures in the DMs and just like some things that they can be doing?
Absolutely. I was like, when I first started business, I was the one who was like, no, I want to do it all myself because I want to make sure it's done correctly. I want to make sure everything looks great. I'm a perfectionist, all the things. As soon as I let automation work for me or work with me, hello from Spain, that's awesome. As soon as I let automation be my legitimate assistant, oh my God, I don't have to be on my phone all the time anymore. I don't have to, freak out every time I get an Instagram notification. So automation is your friend. And with the introduction of ManyChat, okay, ManyChat is the software that we use to automate DMs. MANY chat, CHAT. And if you would like a free month of it, just shoot me a message on Instagram and I'll give you a free month. But what it does is it increases conversions from 1% to 65%. Huge jump, right? Your link in bio used to be one of the only places that was clickable in Instagram. That's that link underneath your bio, link in bio, right? However, if somebody was scrolling on the Reels tab, okay, they're there to scroll. Their thumb has been doing this for 30 minutes. They're used to it, right? They're not there to find a realtor. Point blank. Like they're not on Instagram to find a realtor. But if you pattern interrupt and tell them what to do if this piece of content resonated with them, then they consider it. And some will do it and some won't. But if you don't tell them what to do, they won't do it. So that's the first part. Tell them what to do. We call it a call to action. 99% of what you post as a business owner should include a call to action because you are trying to get the viewer to take some sort of action. Now, all that to say, the main call to action that we used to use was click my link in bio. Okay, because that was one of the only places they could go to find a clickable link that would take them somewhere else. But if I'm scrolling on the Reels tab and I am interested, I would then have to exit the Reels tab, go to your profile, click on the link. If you have a link tree, find whatever link it was that I was interested in the first place. And the more clicks you have to conversion, the lower your conversion rate is going to be. So with the introduction of ManyChat, if they're interested, instead of completely exiting the Reels tab, all they have to do is type in a word in the comments and they can keep scrolling. And then when they're ready to go to their messages, whatever you had intrigued them on is there waiting for them.
So if someone that's watching this is like, you know what, Tammany, all of that sounds super cool, but I am not tech savvy and it sounds like it takes a lot of time. Does it take a lot of time? Should they outsource it or what would you recommend on that end?
Great question. The software itself, ManyChat, can be a little bit overwhelming because some of the diagrams, it's like boxes and arrows, and it can look overwhelming if you don't know what you're looking at. They are taking steps, and I've actually interviewed with them to give them some feedback. They are taking steps. Hi, Adriana, to make it more user friendly. And the way that I would start with ManyChat, if you're interested, is number one, always start with a template. Do not start from scratch until you kind of understand what you're doing. So I've had it for maybe a year. I still always start with a template because it's confusing. Like there's a lot of things that you could potentially go wrong and then the automation breaks. So I always start with a template. And my two favorite templates are grow your email list or grow your following. And what this does is it gates your content, meaning, yes, you can have it, but first you need to do something for me. Either give me your email or follow me, and it will check. If they're like, yeah, I'm following you, and they actually aren't following you, it'll be like, uh-oh, try again.
Okay,
So
nice.
that's incredible. That by itself has increased my lead generation like tenfold.
Awesome. So I know we did have a question. So Adriana asked, how do you distinguish? I assume if someone that's following you is spam, or maybe they message you. I mean, any tips on that?
Yeah. Keep in mind that anytime you're lead generating online, you're going to get spam. Like, it's just a part of the game. Okay. What I did a long time ago is I went into my settings, and there is a place, I'd have to really look for it, but you can message me again if you need help. There is a place where you can put in like banned words. And so what I started doing is anytime I got like consistently like buy Bitcoin or go follow this person who had nothing to do with me. So I would put those words in my banned words, and now I don't even see those comments. So they're not even on my radar anymore. So that's one way you can do it. You'll notice some of them slip through the cracks because they use those fancy fonts like the cursive fonts or whatever. And those are not read by Instagram as real text. They're read as like a little emoji fancy thing. So if they say Bitcoin in the fancy font, Instagram's not going to flag it. That goes for you as well. If you're using your keywords in fancy font, it's not applying to your page. So you can use the fancy text, but do not use them for those keywords. Don't use them for your location words. Don't use them for your name. Don't use them for your city. Don't use them for real estate. But you can do like a few words here and there in it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're talking about that, because I don't even know how to do the fancy font. I've seen it. I'm like, that's cute, but I have no idea how they do it. Maybe from something else.
You literally go to Google and you type in fancy font for Instagram, and there's a bajillion sites that'll do it for you.
Oh man, yeah. Well, at least now we know if you want to show up with SEO, don't be using that.
Yeah. It's a waste of time.
So the next question that I have is, a lot of agents struggle with showing up on video. So how can someone build confidence if maybe they're just starting their journey on Instagram and they're like, you know what, I'm not so comfortable doing videos or talking. What can they be doing to get themselves up to that point to have that confidence and show up with content that actually generates leads for them?
Yeah, this is a big question. And I can guarantee you 99% of my female clients don't like the way they look on camera, don't like the way they sound, all the things. Okay. Everybody loves you. People are following you because they support you, and they're not following you to like rate your appearance. Okay. Actually, there's some, if you're trying to attract females, there's research saying you should not wear makeup, because if you're too pretty, you're intimidating, right? So showing up as your authentic self is really going to move the needle faster for you anyway. Now, I get when you're first starting, it can be intimidating. Honestly, it's a skill. And the only way to get better at skills is practicing the skills. With the comfort in mind that you can delete the video if it sucks. You can edit the bad parts out. Okay. And I even have a client, hello from Mars. I even have a client who literally said, oh no, it was Chloe, a realtor that I interviewed. She said that she learned how to talk to clients by showing up on video. So, which is like huge. Like, you would rather practice and mess up on video when you can edit it out versus stumble in front of your clients, right? But I did also want to ask you about this question, because I'm on screen for like seconds at a time. You're on screen for half hour, an hour plus. So what are some things that maybe you did to help with this?
Yeah, a lot of people think that I was always good at talking on a microphone and in front of a camera, but it was never like that. I think what really helped me was just the repetition of doing it over and over. And if there's a tip that I could give someone, if you're just uncomfortable with recording or hearing yourself, one of the first things that I would say to do is record yourself, but just have that video for yourself. Don't post it, but maybe that gets you into the practice of What angle do you want to make sure that you're recording in? How do you sound? Do you talk too fast? Do you talk too slow? And really creating video content helped me become better with eye contact by looking at a camera, speaking full thoughts without pausing or using filler words. And again, it's over time that you start to get better and better. And look, at the end of the day, nowadays, if you're not on video, someone probably doesn't know that you even
Mhm.
exist. So it's a great way for you to stand out and you get confident over time. Um, just like, the example that you just mentioned, when I'm talking to clients or anybody, I feel that because I have been creating video and having to look at a screen and just talk and say certain things and full thoughts, it's so much easier to have a conversation with someone and figuring out their personality and just kind of how to respond. So it's a combination of all those things that over time, as you do it, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you have to look at the results that you're going to get, that you're looking for, and that should be enough to push you to push
Yeah.
through the fear.
And like the ultimate answer to this question, the thing that genuinely helped me the most was going to therapy. And, just like learning yourself, learning your triggers, that really helped me not really care about what I looked like online.
Yes, yeah, and not caring what you look like or what people say. Because for me, it's like at the end of the day, someone is going to be impacted by what I have to say, and they're going to need my help. So if I get a lead or a transaction out of a video where my hair was messed up, and someone says, "Ha, Loida, you look like a clown," it was worth it because I got that
Yeah.
paycheck, and they didn't get paid.
Yeah. And it's that whole thing like you'll never be criticized by somebody doing more than you. So it's just a mindset's huge. If you need a mindset coach, get a mindset coach because that's going to help you in business no matter what. I've had to change and elevate my mindset with every new season of my business. And that's just being an entrepreneur.
Mhm. So the next question, and we're almost getting ready to wrap this up, is if an agent only had 30 minutes a week to spend on Instagram, what should they be focusing on to get the biggest return?
Video, first of all. Video is just where it is right now. It's more entertaining and it's a lot faster to trust someone via video than a Canva graphic, right? Now, something that I tell my clients just starting out with social media is get in the habit when you're out and about, take out your phone, film little 10-second clips of whatever's happening. If you're in it, even better. Set your phone up on the shelf, film yourself walking and doing nothing. Okay. This is called B-roll. B-roll is like behind the scenes content. This can be plugged in a lot with a bunch of text on screen. But that way, when you do sit down to have those 30 minutes, you have footage to work with and you're not like, I don't have makeup on. I can't film anything. I'm just going to not do it today. Right. So if you at least have B-roll and you're going to make a folder in your phone, you're going to all put it in one folder because trust me, you're going to want that later in life. Yeah, so our contact information is on our little names here. Those are our Instagram handles. Thank you, Loda. But yeah, did I answer your question?
Just
Yeah.
what they can be doing if they only have 30 minutes.
So when you do sit down for those 30 minutes, you can either do a trend. You can literally put your B-roll footage with a list. Lists do really great on Instagram, especially in reel format, because people are like, I'm never going to remember this. I need to save it. And like 90% of those people won't go back and look at it. But by just hitting save, it's now told Instagram that this is a good piece of content. It's going to push it more. So I guess the last thing I'll say about that is Instagram is an engagement-based platform. So I don't care about your followers. There's actually Instagram has come out and said that small accounts are doing better than big accounts right now, which is totally true. So I don't care about your followers. That's a vanity metric. Okay. We care about likes, comments, shares, and saves. And we care about those because that's what the algorithm cares about. So the more you can get those for, the more your content's going to go quote unquote viral. And again, the way that you get them is you tell people to do them. Comment if you live in California. Save this if you're moving to Texas. Send this to a friend. Okay. Tell them what you want them to do with it. Meaning, when you are creating content, you need to know what you want the final action to be. So the way that your reel flows makes sense at the end when you're like, save this.
Yeah, exactly. So you just gave a lot of different content ideas. Can you share any AI tools or resources, or like what's making your flow much easier that agents can use as well to make things faster for them?
So, I mean, I just upgraded to the paid version of ChatGPT like a couple months ago, and it's incredible. I think a lot of what I was trying to do in ChatGPT before I upgraded, I would always get like the response, "Oh, I don't have that capability." And it does have the capability in the paid version because there's different GPTs you get access to. They have this research mode where I can literally be like, "Go research the terms and conditions of this website and then make a table for me so I know what not to post to get banned." Right?
Wow. Yeah.
So, and it will actually go and scrub it and read it and provide an answer for you. So, those are the things I originally wanted ChatGPT to do for me. And then I kept getting like, I'm not capable to do that messages. And I was like, this is not helpful. Now that I upgraded, it researches for me. I have a GPT that is my, this is not legal advice at all, but I told it to act as a business attorney for creatives. And I run all my contracts by it. I say, hey, what are some red flags that this might bring? And that way I can negotiate the contract beforehand. I have a chat GPT for my symptoms. I have an autoimmune disease and I was trying to figure out my triggers. So I made a chat GPT to track all that. And it's literally given me like ideas and ways to improve and not, flag my symptoms. I have a GPT for my website that I run it by it and said, hey, these are the amount of conversions we've had in the past, whatever. What are some things we can change, or what are some conclusions you can make from this data? So really, I think it's not what AI to use, because I get that question all the time. It's how to use it, because people don't know what they don't know.
Mhm.
But literally, I mean, you can have it act as, it's not going to be right, but you can have it act as any kind of professional, and then you can consult with it. It's awesome.
I know. It's crazy. All of the things that you can do to
Mhm.
ChatGPT. So agents, there you go. If you're not using ChatGPT, definitely get on it. And if you can, get the paid version because it's totally worth it. I have the paid version, and yeah, it's absolutely totally worth it. And let's see, the last question. Would you say that should an agent solely rely on referrals in 2025? Is that enough? Is it just Instagram? Like, any tips on that?
So there is this push, and I want to hear your thoughts on this too, but there is this thing now that I've heard like from Grant Cardone trainings and Tony Robbins, and it is be omnipresent. That's the word that keeps like circling around. And that means being visible everywhere. And there's research that shows 5 touches from different mediums is going to be more effective than seeing you on social media 5 times. Okay, so that could be they see your Facebook ad, and then they see your reel, and then they see you at an open house, and then they see your mailer, and then they see, right? So having the different mediums, and they're going to be like, oh my God, I see this girl everywhere. Is it fate? I need to reach out to
Yeah,
her.
I know.
Okay. So, in that sense, I think it's important to have a digital presence. Is Instagram the platform for you? Like, I don't know. That's going to be up to you and what kind of content you want to create. I have some older clients who don't enjoy the videos, and they're doing really well on Threads, right? Because that's not a visual platform, that's more text based. So I would, one, take a look at your goals. Is your referral sources allowing you to hit your productivity goals? If not, you need to try something new. and what are you wanting to create that you're going to enjoy creating, that you're not going to get burnt out on. Maybe it's a blog instead of Instagram, right? So, but you do want something to pop up. Actually, you want a lot of things to pop up when somebody Googles your name.
Absolutely. And to kind of add on to that, I know for me, obviously, I've been creating content on YouTube and at the same time been growing on Instagram. But for any agent, I would say, don't just rely on social media, but still, make the phone calls. The
Hmm.
low hanging fruit that I always talk about is the expireds for sale by owner circle prospecting. Now, the cool thing is that when you build a presence online, nowadays, when you're talking to someone, they're probably going to Google you or look you up. So the moment they look you up, they find you, they see what you look like and how you speak and what you're putting out, it just makes it so much easier for them to already feel like they know you. And what has happened to me is that I end up setting appointments, and when I meet with them, they were like, you know what? We already took a look at everything. We found you online and we're ready for you to help us get this home sold. So the amount of objections just goes down that I have to handle. Many times I don't even have to compete with other agents. So again, it goes back to building a presence online, but also implementing some other forms of lead generation and prospecting. And once you combine the two, you're going to be everywhere pretty much, because
Yes.
they might be like, "Oh yeah, I think I did see your billboard. You're that girl." It's like, "Yeah." And there you go.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh my god, she's famous," right? Like, but
Yeah.
it's famous in their world because the algorithm has somehow put you two together, and they're like, "She just keeps showing up." Something I always say is your social media content should be a way to get more eyes on what you're already doing in your business. So if you're not doing anything in your business, you're probably going to have no inspiration to create content. But if you're doing open houses every weekend, if you're at networking events, if you are popping by for your clients, of course you have stuff to film because you're doing stuff.
Absolutely. Well, Tammany, I don't think we have any more questions. So I really appreciate you hopping on here. You have given so much value to our audience. I know everyone's going to have to watch this a couple times and write down notes. And again, you see Tammany's Instagram on the handle on the screen right there. If you're not following her, make sure to follow her. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it with someone else, drop us a comment. And if you think of any other questions in the future, if you're like, you know what, you guys should do this again and talk more about a specific topic, also let us know. Maybe we end up doing a part 2. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I love this. This started because I asked Loida to be on my podcast, and we're like, wait, we have a really good conversation. We should do this live.
Yes, yeah. And you're like, I've never gone live. And I'm like, I was always afraid of going live because I'm like, what if I mess up and what if I say the wrong thing? But it was kind of like overcoming my fear. I started going live on Instagram. I had a Wonder Woman Wednesday series back 2020, and that's how I started my journey
I love
going
it.
live. And then I switched it to YouTube, and here we are now. So hopefully you're going to be going live more
That's
often
actually
now
my
as
goal
well.
for this quarter is going live more. And I've already gone live like 3 or 4 times on Instagram the past like 2 weeks. So I'm like proud of myself.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Awesome. All right, Tammany. Well, thank you once again for being on here today. And for everyone that's watching, thank you for